scholars all over the world claim to have the Books of Enoch. They claim to know certain secrets about the Books of Enoch. So you'd find that they're talking about aliens, extraterrestrials, giants, giant trees, extrasensory perception. And that's true. The Books of Enoch contain all those things. However, if the Books of Enoch that you possess, or if the version of the Book of Enoch that you possess does not have an, according to how they say, let me hold your hand on and say this. That's what my wife will say. Let me hold your hand on and say this. If the Books of Enoch that you have does not have or make mention of the Elohim, the Seraphim, or the Amaphim, then you don't have a proper and complete version of the Books of Enoch. Instead, what you have is a highly curated version of the Book of Enoch filled with discursive rhetoric. Welcome to the Academy. I'm your Professor Yams, and today we're going to talk about the Books of Enoch. Now, the Books of Enoch are known by all of the scholars globally throughout the ages to contain the secrets of the entire world. That's the reason why the Books of Enoch were so sought after. Because the Books of Enoch contain the secrets of the human being, they contain the secrets of all of the kingdoms on earth. The mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, every single kingdom. The Books of Enoch also contain the secrets of the moon, the secrets of an ancient land known by the Greeks as Atlantis, and it contains the secrets of a pre-diluvian continent. The Books of Enoch make mention of the Elohim. And it's important to understand who the Elohim are. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to focus on the Elohim for now, because the Elohim is basically the biggest secret in the Books of Enoch. And if you don't know about the Elohim after reading any version of the Books of Enoch whatsoever, then you're missing the whole point of the Books of Enoch. You're missing the whole point of why Enoch even wrote these books. The reason why Enoch wrote all of these books, of course, they were scrolls, which were transliterated into books. The reason why Enoch wrote these scrolls is to pass down the information from the previous generations, going back thousands of years. All right, so it's important to understand the purpose of the Books of Enoch first to begin with. Now, in the Books of Enoch, one of the most prominent things that you will learn is self-knowledge. But we're going to hold off on self-knowledge for now, because I personally love the topic of self-knowledge. It was known by Yeshua the Christ, also known as Jesus. It was known by the Buddha. It was known by all of the ancient sages and all of the ancient scholars throughout the ages. But the most powerful thing to understand in the Books of Enoch, which, by the way, is the foundation of the contemporary Bible that we know about today. The reason why it's so important to understand the Elohim is because the Elohim are the creators of the human being. That might sound very strange, but to those who are familiar with the Books of Enoch would understand that the Elohim are the creators of the human being. And the Elohim are well respected by very prominent persons from several of the most prestigious universities in the world. So anybody who wants to understand the Books of Enoch would have to understand why Enoch stressed on the importance of understanding who the Elohim were, or rather who the Elohim are, because the Elohim are still alive and living. Now, the Elohim were known by ancient cultures, and we are talking about the Africans, the ancient Indians, the ancient Native Americans, the ancient Chinese, the ancient Japanese, and all of the most ancient cultures on this planet. The Elohim are not only the creators of the human being, but the Elohim are said by Enoch, written about by Enoch and other sages, to have been present when this planet that we live on was as small as a seed. And again, these things sound strange, right? Because I never heard about the books of Enoch like I am presenting to you. Because a lot of scholars tend to, just as I said before, beat around the bush when it comes to the juice and the real matter of the books of Enoch. But continuing on, the Elohim are not only the creators of a human being, they are also the ones who created this planet. The Elohim are also the ones who created this solar system. Now, there are versions of the books of Enoch that say the Elohim created this planet and the solar system. All of them would be correct, because going back throughout all the books, all of the versions of the books of Enoch, and many other books from the ancient Kushite and Abyssinian empires spoke also about the Elohim. They would have called them by different names. There's a version of a Mesopotamian document. It was gifted, well, it was not gifted to me, but I got excerpts of this particular book, but I consider that to be a gift because it is very, very potent in understanding who these beings were and how we relate to these beings. The Elohim are the head of the angelic hierarchy. So the Elohim being the head of the angelic hierarchy are guardians of the solar system. Make sure, put your questions and comments below. We're going to cover everything that is necessary for you to have the utmost clarity about the books of Enoch and all that Enoch was talking about. We're going to focus now on the creators of the human being. So we're going to cover this more in depth now. Human beings, first to begin with, this is a very ancient science we're going to cover here, and it's called Smepology. What's important to understand about Smepology is that Smepology is the science of human existence. It is the science of human experiences. It is the science of human behavior. It is the logic of the human being. It is the logic of the intricate parts and aspects of a human being. So in Smepology, it's important to understand the first four letters. We have S, M, E, and P. The human being is comprised, so this is known as the four pillars of the human blueprint. This is the schematics of the human being. And this is how the Elohim understand it. This is what the Elohim used to teach. All right, this is how they taught it. This is how all of the ancient sages taught it. This is how Yeshua taught it. This is how Enoch taught it. This is how the ancient Aksum Empire, the ancient Kushite empires, and many other empires around that time taught about the divine knowledge that was bestowed upon humanity by the Elohim. Now, I'm going to just bring down the S and the M because, the blueprint kind of in the way there, right? So, M and S. The human being is made up of these four pillars, and they are spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. So essentially, human beings are spirits using a mind to experience and process emotions inside of a physical body. So this is basically how the human being comes into a body. This is the science of how we incarnate into a body. So this is the science of incarnation And it also inadvertently explains the science of reincarnation, because spirits do not die. We reincarnate, we come again and again and again and again and again until we fulfill whatever objectives that we have on this planet, basically. Spiritual is our foundation. And this is the reason why so many people who decide to go and do research to get to find out more about esoteric knowledge. This is what we're teaching. This is esoteric knowledge. This is what was taught by Christ. This is what was taught by Buddha and all of the ancient sages. The reason why we don't understand esoteric knowledge, which is knowledge that is not widely known by many people, or knowledge concerning the spiritual or the secret things. The reason why we are so confused sometimes about spiritual teachings is because many people think that the spiritual aspect is steeped in mysticism and that it is only known by a few people and would not be known by anybody else. But I guarantee you, a 7-year-old could understand this science, the science of Smepology. That's very important if you would like to understand yourself, and also if you seek this thing called self-knowledge, because a lot of people think that self-knowledge is unattainable. That is not true. And after this lesson, you will be convinced that self-knowledge is indeed attainable and that it is as equally as important as getting sunlight and water to nourish your body. Because this knowledge nourishes your spirit. We are the spirits living inside physical bodies with mental and emotional attributes. So it's important to understand, firstly, that spirituality is the study of the science of the human being. So in studying this, this would bring clarity to you in a way that you did not know was possible. Now, before we get a bit into the different aspects, it's important to understand what is the goal of Smepology and what is the goal of us as human beings in understanding ourselves at much deeper levels. Now, the 4 pillars of the human blueprint are also known as the path to Christ consciousness. And the path to Christ consciousness basically means the way to achieve self-knowledge. Christ himself was one of the teachers that gained Christ consciousness, and so he decided to teach it. And not many people are aware that Yeshua the Christ, or Jesus Christ, as some know him, was a cousin to John the Baptist, known in ancient texts as Yahweh the Baptist. So Yahweh the Baptist, or John the Baptist, achieved Christ consciousness, and so he went on to baptize Yeshua the Christ in the science of Christ consciousness. And this is important for everybody to know, because if you're alive on this planet right now, if you're looking at this video right now, it's important to understand your path to Christ consciousness by understanding the 4 pillars of the human blueprint through the ancient science of Smepology. Now, coming back to the goal of Smepology, the goal is spiritual discernment, mental clarity, emotional intelligence, and physical wellness. So as spirits using our mind to experience and process emotions in our physical body, the ultimate goal of Christ consciousness or self-knowledge is for the achievement of spiritual discernment, the achievement of mental clarity, the achievement of emotional intelligence, and the achievement of physical wellness. This is the path of Christ consciousness. This is how we get closer to the Most High.